Hi, I'm Claudia Brown Coulter, your go-to mediator for navigating divorce while parenting children with special needs. I'm also a legal document assistant, LDA, based in the greater Los Angeles area. Let's talk about alternative dispute resolution, ADR. It should come as no surprise to you that I don't think it should be called ADR. There's nothing alternative about it. Alternative is the mainstream, right? But really, this means alternative to the court process, the let's duke it out in court type thing. Let me make myself very, 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 very clear. Lawyers are fantastic. I'm so glad we have lawyers. I'm so glad we have the court system. It's necessary, but we are flooding the courts with things we could solve ourselves. So let's look at some ADR options so that the court can do what the court does best and help the people who really need the help, who really need a judge to adjudicate and decide. Do you really need a stranger to decide about your child? Are you two people really that terrible that you can't figure this out? No, of course you aren't. Okay? So let's have a judge decide on the things that a judge really needs to decide on. Let's lighten their load so that they have time to make great decisions, and let's help our own selves adjudicate our own issues. Okay, so the first option is mediation. Now, all of these options eventually become legally binding. Right. So in mediation, you are meeting with a neutral third-party mediator, someone like myself, and they are helping you reach an agreement. Mediation is confidential. It's not recorded. The mediator's not going to blab. They're not going to tell about your sex life. And, it's not a requirement to tell the mediator about your sex life. We really don't need to know. Please don't tell me. Now, sometimes people say, I want to mediate all day. That type of mediation works really great in commercial type disputes, in employment, in personal injury, in business, but it doesn't work well for a family. It does not work well in family law. Their emotions are far too high. So you're going to mediate for a little bit and you're going to take a break. You're going to take a few days in between and then you're going to come back. And that brings with it the risk that your other person may change their mind. And they might. Okay? They may change their mind. There is nothing you can do about that. Your job is to keep working towards an agreement. And once you agree on everything, that's when you kind of sign paperwork and make it official and send it to the court so it becomes legally binding. Some people have attorneys and they can bring their attorneys to mediation. But, your attorney is going to be sitting there in mediation with you. You're going to be paying the mediator and your attorney. And it might be more beneficial to pay the mediator and then go have a conversation with your attorney afterwards. And then lastly, once you've agreed on everything before you've signed everything, then you take that agreement to your attorney to get their input. Okay, that's a really great way to use an attorney and not burn up your whole retainer because you're getting their input and they're giving you legal advice. They are helping you. They're advocating for you and helping you do that process without them doing everything for you. The other type of ADR is arbitration, where you've got a judge deciding, you're kind of presenting your case to this person and they are going to decide. Now, in a traditional process, if you go to the court process and the judge decides something and you're not in agreement, you can appeal, right? It's not just criminal cases that get appealed or certain civil cases. People appeal divorce judgments that come from the bench. It's harder to do that in arbitration. And then lastly, there is collaborative divorce. Now, these all kind of save you money and they save you time. But of these three, this particular one is the most expensive because the collaborative divorce process, you both have attorneys, there's a mediator, you probably both have some sort of coach and maybe a therapist, and there's a financial person. So there's a lot of people around. I actually spoke to a couple recently who spent tens of thousands of dollars on collaborative divorce and hadn't even filed one paper yet, hadn't reached an agreement. They spent several hours with the parenting coach, but they were never able to have their own questions and concerns addressed. And they were like, we don't need all of this. We're about to have an agreement anyway. And so they finally just stopped. And the problem with stopping a collaborative divorce, if you can go through the process and it works for you, and that's the thing, right? In a collaborative divorce process, you are locked into this team, but this team can really help you. But if it comes to the point where you can't reach an agreement, you can't not take that attorney that you had in the collaborative process and just use them to litigate. You have to start over. So that's also where some of the expense comes in. So all of these options are valid and valuable and worth it, right? But you have to decide what is worth it for my life, for my financial standing, for my amount of time, because collaborative is going to take longer. And then you run with it, right? So there is power connected to people. It is not okay to expect one person to know everything. So even if you decide, I'm just going to work with a mediator, that mediator should be connected with people who can refer you. They can refer you to like, okay, here's a coach, here's this person, so that you can get the financial, emotional support you need. You can get some legal support as well. So there are various options out there for you. One is not better than the other, but they're probably all better than going to court. Going to court is no fun. It is no fun. It takes all day. Ugh. Don't let that be you.